Hey, welcome guys. Tony Porter, Tabletop Baseball Digest, and here we are with another 1967 deep drive game. We're playing Houston at Houston. Now, Houston's Astrodome is fascinating on the Houston Astrodome ballpark card. If you can see this, left-handed batters have 0, and right-handed batters have a 1 in terms of their ability to hit a home run. So it did not give up very many home runs. Um, Based on this card. Of course, it'll give up some home runs on the batter cards, right, in the deep drive charts, but it's not going to, the ballpark is never going to help. So it's late at night here, or early in the morning, whichever you choose. We are in the top of the eighth inning. It's Mets are up 3-0. Seaver's got a shutout going, a 3-hitter so far. So it's 3 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for the New York Mets, and for the Astros is 0 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. I'm using Replay Baseball because of how easy it is to use as a helper. It keeps stats, it keeps standings. It offers you rosters and so on and so forth. It gives you lots of information. Of course, all the leaderboards and information that you can kind of pull out as you go through the season. I'm just playing Seaver starts here and kind of demoing deep drive baseball. I feel that I do a better job at showing the games and how fluid they are when I play more games consistently. Like if I jump from game to game, or I play one series with one game, another series, I kind of feel that I get back to the game that I haven't played for a while and feel a little bit clumsy. It takes me, a couple of games to start feeling the nice flow and to really making the rules just kind of almost second nature, right? Um, and then when I do that, I have it. I really enjoy the game much more. So yeah, I get when guys have played a game for 20 years and how it's a little bit difficult to switch because it does take a little bit learning, but ultimately, one thing that I have to say is that a lot of these games are have a lot in common. Um, so once you play one game, you suddenly realize, hey, this game has a lot to do with this other game, and you know, um, and at least in my brain, it simplifies the playing of a new game and so forth. Anyway, let's get started. This is a short video because we're in the top of the eighth inning, so I did want to have a little chit chat. In the outfield for the Astros, it's Miller in left, Wynn in center, and Staub in right. Around the infield for the Astros is Aspromonte at third, Jackson at short, the Joe Morgan at second base, and Eddie Matthews, who will be traded soon. He played with the Braves for a very long time, but in '67 he's playing with the Astros. He's in the twilight of his career. And then behind the plate is Brandt. On the mound is Cuellar, who's done a good job. He's got 13 points. Both these pitchers have 13 points in terms of endurance. And for example, right now, both pitchers have gone 7, so that's 7 points. And they've gone through the lineup, let's say 3 times off the top of my head. Probably Seaver's only twice because he's only allowed 3 hits. But Cuellar at least 3 times, so that's 7 plus 10 I'm sorry, 7 plus 3 is 10. And then of course Cuellar's given up a run, so that's 11. So he still has a couple more points. So there's a possibility that we'll have a double complete game in this game. All right, so Jerry Grote's leading off. Jerry Grote in the season replays batting 243 using a combination of my games where I roll with a deep drive and of course the helper replay baseball running the other at bats and games. Jerry Grote batted 195, so he's doing a little bit better than he did in actuality, but that would even out, during the course of a long season. So let's get started. Let's see if Seaver can hold on to that shutout. He's got his ERA down, but I'll talk about that when he goes on the mound. All right, that's going to be a 56, and that's a ground ball, and that's through the infield for base hit. So Grody picks up a single. He's on at first. He's an average speed guy, so I'm not looking to run for him right now. Bosch. It's Bosch, the 8th place hitter, and then Seaver. So I'm going to let Bosch swing away, and then Seaver will probably bunt. Because what happens is if I bunt with Bosch, I put him on second, but Seaver's not going to get a hit, so I basically waste 2 outs. And that's going to be a 48 with a 3, and that's a ground ball to the first baseman. He's going to second for 1, and that's all he's going to get. Grody goes in high with those spikes and prevents the throw to first, so it's going to be a 3-6 fielder's choice. Now the game itself tells you a G is going to be like for example, a G3, that's fielder's choice. A G5H would be a double play, and then a GS would be runner's advance. So that's an easy, it reminds me a lot of Status Pro. Status Pro does that, and it's easy to pick up. So it just takes seconds, and you pick it up, and you say, okay, I know what this grounder means. And that's excellent. I always really admired that, valued that system in Status Pro. It's one of the games I really like. I don't play that much. I have like a ton of Status Pro, but I don't play it very much, unfortunately. I literally have about 7, 8 boxes of the classic, 80s. I don't have any of the late 70s stuff, but I have mostly all the 80s because they were big in the 80s. I do have 92, which is the season I met my wife, and I started really getting into baseball again after a few years of kind of in and out of baseball, like kind of following it, not following it, and working and school and all that stuff. Anyway, all right, so Seaver's going to bunt. Now, I've kind of pretty much learned the bunting system. Bosch is an F, so I'm not going to be looking to pick up a. So this game is unique in the bunting. It allows you to go for the fielder's choice if the situation allows you. In other words, encourages you to do that. Right? You can do it if it discourages you, but that wouldn't make much sense. And that's where I'm kind of don't really like that, but I can tweak it to where there's an element of strategy to it, which I do like. Okay, and let me explain. Bosch is a fast runner at first base, so and there's no real outstanding infielder on this team. Like Aspromonte is a 3, Morgan is a 3, the shortstop Matthews is a 3. So they're all good, but they're not outstanding. The advantage is if you have like a 5 at one of those at the corner positions, or even the pitcher's a 3 as well. If I had a 5 and then I had a very slow runner, it's like a 70% chance I can get the fielder's choice, right? And then I would possibly go for it, right? Go for the fielder's choice. But in this case, with a fast runner, it's never going to go beyond. And with the type of infielders I have, it's never going to go beyond. Let me see if I can find it for you real quick here. My bunt chart, cutoff chart. Did I put it on this side? Maybe. Let me see. Yeah, bunt is on this side. Okay, so for example, with a 3 infielder, it would be a 60% chance if there was a very slow runner. Okay, which is still something that I could use as a strategy and consider. Do I want to, risk it? Actually, 0 to 6, so that it would be only 8 and 9. It would be like a 70% chance there. But I don't have he's a fast runner. The best it's ever going to get is a 40% chance. And with the infielders that I have, a 50% chance here with a 4 infielder, but I don't have any of those. So at 50-50, I don't really want to risk it. It's just, I just don't. Because if I miss it, then I have first and second, and only 1 out. So it's just, so what I've done is I've simplified it, right? So since he's not a very slow runner at first, I'm not going to worry about that. So it's going to be a 24. A 24 is going to be a strikeout. So a strikeout is 2 strikes out on the batter. So this means then I think, well, do I want to bunt again with this guy? Because another strikeout result is going to be a strikeout, or do I want to try to roll to bunt the guy over? 30 to 49, I can bunt him over on Seaver's card. Um, and 80 to 99, I can bunt him over on Cuellar's card with pick off, wild pitch, and balk potentially happening on the pitcher card. So anyway, just to simplify it, I have 2 strikes on Seaver. I'm going to ask him to bunt again, and a 0-8 will be a strikeout. So that's fine because he would have struck out anyway. So I'm not worried about that. All right. So Buddy Harrelson now with 2 out and a runner on first. Bosch is on at first. Now I'll take a look at Bosch to see what kind of stolen base guy he was. He had 3 stolen bases in 100 appearances. He would be a 10. There he goes, and he is out. They caught him. So the throw down from Brandt, the tag by Morgan, and it's a 2-4 put out, and that ends the inning. But no big deal because in the top of the ninth, I'll have Buddy Harrelson leading off. All right. So Seaver is pitching in the bottom of the 8th. He's got a shutout going, a 3-hitter. It's going to be Aspromonte coming up. Seaver's got his ERA at 3.11. He had a 2.76 ERA in 2.76 ERA in 1967. So we're going to have Aspromonte, Brandt, and then the pitcher, and we'll probably see a pinch hitter for the pitcher, especially if somebody gets on. If nobody gets on, I may just let him bat. Let's see what happens. Here's the pitch from Seaver, and that's going to be a 50. That's a deep drive, but there's no ballpark here because the card doesn't offer it. So he gets a hold of one and drives it. Let's see what's going to happen. A 44 is going to be 1 hop off the wall. Digging for second is Aspromonte. Here's the throw, and not in time. He takes second base ahead of the throw, and it's a leadoff double. So this is going to be now coming up. Remember, the Mets lead at 3-0, so we're not panicking just yet. Ron Brandt is going to bat. He's a 240 hitter, so he holds his own. That's pretty good for this time period. So he will bat against Tom Terrific. Let's see what Tom Terrific can do with him. He needs a strikeout here. And will he get a strikeout? A 75 is going to be a defensive check. And a 40. A 40 says is my shortstop. My shortstop's a 3, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. And Harrelson boots it. So runner will advance. E6. First and third now. And now we're going to bring in a pinch hitter, no question. Because we got the pinch hitter would be, by the way, would be the tying run. Now in 67, do I have any power? Very little power on this team. And I have no lefty, so it's going to be a righty. Who's my righty with the best average? I usually look at the guy with the most at-bats, which is Bateman, but he's a catcher. So since he's a cat, even though I do have 2 catchers, I have Adlish and I have Bateman. So I could use Bateman and he has some power. So we're going to pinch hit with Bateman. I do have another catcher. And let's see if we can get a hold of one here. Let's see if we can. First of all, you get all the players. Here's the Dave Adlish. He's the other catcher. You get all the players with this game. $15. You can't go wrong. Plays decent. Above average. You know, it's definitely a fun game. You know, it's not a super advanced game, but it has advanced elements. It's accurate. I've played whole complete seasons. I played the 71 Oakland Athletics, and if you look at the stats for that, very impressive on every level. All right, so Bateman steps in, runners on first and third. We're willing to let a run score. We'll trade in out for a run here. We're up by 3. It's around the infield. It's Boyer at third, Harrelson at short, Bushek at second, and Bob Johnson at first base. Behind the plate is Grody. Seaver on the mound. In the outfield for the Mets, it's Tommy Davis in left, Bosch in center, and Cleon Jones in right. Here's the pitch from Seaver to John Bateman. And that's a 0-8, and that's going to be a swing and a miss. So Seaver brings the heat and blows a fastball by the pinch hitter Bateman. That's now going to bring in a lefty batter, Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan is a 3 double play. That means he doesn't hit into many double plays. So we're going to keep that in mind here. First and third, we're still going to play the infield back. And I really, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at this. As I learn the game and as I become more familiar with it, I start expanding and you know, getting into aspects or facets of the game that I haven't worried about because I'm just trying to get the basics down. Once I get the basics down, I start like looking at, going beyond the basics and stretching it. So I'm not going to look at that right now, but if the situation comes up, I may take a quick pit stop and take a look at that rule and talk about it. But there is a rule here about the DP for guys that don't hit into a lot of DPs. So here's the pitch from Seaver, first and third. So he does have some power. Actually doesn't have very much power. Hit only 6 home runs, about a 275. So it's not one of Joe Morgan's most standout um, seasons. He did steal 29 bases, but he will go on to become a Hall of Fame player for sure with the Reds. Here's the pitch. 34 and a 5, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. But this is an average ground ball, so it's going to be a fielder's choice. A run will score. It's going to be a 6-4, and no throw to first. Run scores. Other one is forced out at second, and Morgan is on at first. Now we're going to get Morgan to down by 2. Should I steal with Morgan? Morgan is a 13, and there he goes, and he is safe. So Morgan steals second, keeps out of the double play. It is the shortstop now, Sonny Jackson. Jackson batted 240, 22 stolen bases, so another guy that steals a little bit. Not a good shortstop, by the way, so that I make a mental note of that. He's a 1. That's the worst. Well, you can be 0. Anyway, all right, so run around second, 2 outs, and it's Sonny Jackson. Pitched by Seaver, a 53, which is a base hit single. That'll score Morgan. This scores 3-2. So Sonny Jackson's going to take off and try to steal. There he goes, and the throw down, not in time. Grody got that throw off quickly, but not quick enough, and Jackson's in there under the tag. And that brings up Jimmy Wynn, the center fielder. Again, a standard center fielder at a 3. He batted 249 with 37 home runs, so he's got a load of power. So this is a guy that can really hurt us. So we're going to go out and talk to Seaver, make sure he approaches Wynn with caution. We're letting Seaver go here. He's allowed 2 runs and 5 hits, probably fatiguing at this point here in the bottom of the 8th. Who do we have in the bullpen? I'm glad you asked. Ron Taylor is pretty good, 2.34 ERA. We could go to Ron Taylor here, and you know what? We are going to go to Ron Taylor here. Let's go to Ron Taylor. We're going to get Seaver out of there. He already has a bunch of. Seaver has a bunch of complete games. I wish that was written on the card stat line, his complete games, just so I know. Because if I have a guy like Wilbur Wood completed like 30 out of 40 starts, then I know I'm going to push this guy all the time. Unless he's really struggling. But if I have a guy that has 6 complete games and 40 starts, I'm going to kind of be willing to pull him more often than not. Okay, so here's Ron Taylor. He's a reliever with 2 points. And he's going to be facing the righty Jimmy Wynn, so righty on righty. And let's do it. The tying run is at second base. And here's the pitch. And that's going to be a 20, and a 20 is going to be a swing and a miss. Strikes him out. That ends the inning. Big K for Ronnie Taylor, who comes in big. Ronnie Taylor had a 2.34 ERA, a 4-6 record. He's 29 years old, 8 saves, 73 innings pitched, 46 strikeouts, a whip of 1.1. Comes in and does a great job striking out the toy cannon, they call them. All right, I'm going with Raymond here. Guy named Raymond. You know what? Zambera pitched a lot. I try to pick the guys that I see pitched a lot and in terms of relief. So we're going to bring in Zambera. That's the nice thing about having a helper. It shows you, all the data, and it's easy to see, and it tells you, who's available. Because I don't know what this team did in the last previous 3 games or 6 games. Maybe Simbera pitched in every game, so I can't bring him in here. Whereas if you're playing without this knowledge, you're just, basically using all the best pitchers against the team all the time, and that's unrealistic. I'll tell you a quick anecdote. My first season of baseball, tabletop baseball, was in '76. I was playing, well, it was '77. I was playing the '76 Yankees. I was living in New York, and I remember I was using the Appa was the first game I played, and they had a roster sheet, and they ordered the pitchers from most used to least used, right? And it was the starters first, and then the relievers second. And the starters were in order, of course, of innings pitched. And it just so happens that all the guys that pitched the most innings also had the best grade. So as I was going, the first time I played the Baltimore Orioles, I used the top 3 pitchers. The second time I played the Baltimore Orioles, I used the top 3 pitchers. Of the team I was facing, of course, I kept my rotation, you know, uh, going through all the pitchers. But the team I was facing, I just pulled the top 3 pitchers, and I did that with Boston. I did that with Baltimore. I did that with all the teams that I was playing. Well, guess what? Halfway through the season, all my guys are batting 220. Nobody's batting 270. Nobody's batting 280. Nobody's batting 290. Nobody's batting 300. And I didn't understand what's going on. Why is everybody batting so poorly? You know, until I don't know when, to be honest with you, I realized, oh man, I never pitched anybody against C and D pitchers. It was always like A, B, B, A, B, B, A, B, B. There was never any C's or D's, and that's why. And then I did the same thing with the bullpen. I always grabbed the guy at the top, and he was usually the closer. So the Yankees were always facing A pitchers, the top pitchers. And I think I realized that later on. And then I realized, no, I got to kind of mix them up since I don't know what starts they had, and there was no baseball reference or anything like that to know, who had the starts before and prior. Now I use actual lineups and I avoid all that, so that way I know that they're getting to face all the pitchers, A, B, C, and D. The top pitchers, the mediocre pitchers, and the poor pitchers. All right, let's get Buddy Harrelson. We're in the top of the 9th inning, 3-2 Mets. Mets 3 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. What has Buddy Harrelson done today? Buddy Harrelson today is 2 hits in 3 at bats. All right, let's do it. It's a 19, and that's a defensive result. Sembera with the pitch, 65. Will be second base, and that's a base hit past the diving Morgan. So Harrelson had 12 stolen bases. I think I have one with him already, so I'm not going to steal again. Kenny Boyer, because 12 stolen bases are 2 stolen bases a month. Actually, you know what? I can steal again because I'm already in May. There he goes. And he is safe because the number is 8, but it's a +2 for the pitcher. So that's a 10. There's no negative for the catcher. I looked that up already. Yep, there's no negative. It's hard to find a negative on a catcher or a positive on a catcher. It's usually the pitcher. Hold rating. So he's still second. So the Mets have an insurance run. They need to get him home. It's going to be Kenny Boyer. Kenny Boyer moves over to Chicago. He's a above average first baseman and an average third baseman. But average in the major leagues is good, 93. And that's outside of the pick-off, wild pitch, and balk range, which is 90 to 91 for wild pitch. So 93 and a 2 is a tapper right back to the mound. Harrelson will hold on this. So ground ball 1-3, and Harrelson holds at second. He's in scoring position, so I'm not trying to race him to third base. Jerry Bushek is up, and can we pinch hit for Bushek? Crane Pool, and then we'll bring somebody else to play second base. Who can that be? Oh, wow, I don't have anybody else to play second base. Who do I have on the... No, I don't. That's interesting. Let's look at that again. I have Svoboda, first Is that third base? Can my third baseman play second base? I can't even see that. Okay, so I'm going to let Bushik bat because I don't really see I have a second baseman. Another second baseman. Here's the pitch. That's a 57. That's going to be a line drive base hit. And they're going to wave Harrelson home. Here comes the throw. The tag by the catcher, and he's safe. So Harrelson, and on a 1-2-3, he will take second base, and he does not. All right, so it's an RBI single for Bushik. And Bushik is slow, so it could be 1-2-3 on the throw home and the tag. If he was fast, you could do on a 1-2-3-4, and very fast would be, 1-2-3-4-5 if you wanted to do something like that on a tag play at home. Tommy Davis. So that's a big insurance run for the Mets. They lead at 4-2 now. And Tommy Davis with a runner first. Let's do it. 43. And a hard hit ball. Third base. Goes second for one. Back to first. Double play. Around the horn. Double play. And that ends the inning. And here come the Astros against Ronnie Taylor's trying to pick up a save. Rusty Staub, Le Grand Orange, who will soon be a Met in the early 70s. Should have never traded Rusty. Here's the pitch. That's a 16, and that'll be line base hit. He rips one to right. Played on a hop by Cleon Jones. Eddie Matthews hit 16 home runs in 500 plate appearances. He was a guy who used to hit 40 home runs every year. But of course, he's age 35 now, and 35 in the 60s was pretty darn old. All right, here's the pitch. That is going to be a 38 with a 6. The ground ball is short. Goes second for one, back to first, not in time. The throw pulled Johnson off the bag, so it's going to be a 6-4. Fielder's choice. Matthews is now on at first, and it's Norm Miller, the left fielder. He's a lefty batter. Pitch from Taylor with a 16, which will be a swing and a miss. Struck him out. Curve gets Miller. Taylor walks off the mound, grabs the rosin, and it's going to be Aspromonte. Let's see if I have any lefty pinch hitters. Nope. We'll let Aspromonte swing away at 6 home runs and a 290 average. Pitch from Taylor, and that's going to be a 48. This should do it. Fly ball. Shallow left field, racing in is Davis. Back goes Harrelson, and it's Davis who calls off Harrelson at the last minute. And that is the ball game. Yes, sirree. This is Tony Porter. Tabletop Baseball Digest. Seaver, 4-4 now, gets the win. Cuellar, 3-6, gets the loss. Taylor picks up his first save of the season. And the Mets are 13-28. The Astros are 15-30 in my replay. And remember to like and subscribe and comment. And I hope you pick up Deep Drive Baseball. Guy put a lot of work into something that he sells for $15. Now, I print out my teams as I go. And in 67, there's not a lot of teams to print out, so it wouldn't cost you very much. I get pretty cheap paper that lasts me, months and months and months. And I got an average printer, no special printer. And I do choose actual size when I print out. You have a fit to page, or actual size. I print out actual size, so then I have less wasted paper around the edges, and I have a larger card. These cards are very nice, very easy to read, as you can see. I've done a lot of work on my lighting and on my. I picked up a new camera. I had an old camera for a long time that where it was out of, a lot of times it was blurry and out of focus. But I picked up a new camera so that the cards could be seen a little bit better. And I've got my trusty little playing field, dice rolling field here. That's getting pretty beat up. Every so often I take it into the shop and I tidy it up and clean it up. I gotta put something there to protect it, some resin, cover it, so paint it and cover it with a little resin, so when the dice hit, it doesn't take the paint out. And periodically I gotta clean the field as well. I clean the field, I get in there and I clean the field. because it gets dirty from the dice and from the hands and the grease and all that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.